Blog Talk Radio.
Hello and welcome to Quality of Life Radio, hosted by Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazine.com.
The gong has spoken. Have we all gone crazy, stuck at home, sheltered in place yet from this coronavirus? And this could be the first round, second round, third round could be coming, who knows? And you may be stuck at home with a loved one who could be driving you nutty sometimes. I mean, they could be yodeling, but we like yodeling personally. They could be cutting their toenails at the breakfast table.
What?
They could be talking to you. I don't know. It just could be a point of irritation. Well, come on. It can happen. I don't know. That's just an example. I haven't seen you do that, Nancy.
I'm not going to ask you who you have breakfast with.
I don't know. But today's show is all about that, what to do if you're at home or, stuck in close quarters for an extended time with a loved one who could be driving you a little batty. So we have a special guest joining us on today's Big Blend Radio Quality of Life show. We have Sarah Elliston. You've heard her on our shows before. Sarah is the author of Lessons from a Difficult Person, How to Deal with People Like Us. And, of course, you can get the book on Amazon and all those great online bookstores, or go to your local, or maybe call your local bookstore to get it. And also, she's one of our columnists here on Big Blend Radio and TV magazine. So you can see her articles on blendradioandtv.com, and also keep up with her at sarahelliston.com. But, Sarah, welcome back to Big Blend Radio. How are you?
I am fine. I am
good.
Are you having fun?
Third week
yeah,
or fourth week of this. I've lost track of time.
I know. See, we went live as soon as all this kind of, went crazy, and I want to give a shout out to our friend Jerry. And you and Jerry exchanged yodels before we went live to see. But we're here at the historic Homestead Inn in beautiful 29 Palms, and it is a beautiful day in the desert, as Jerry always says it truly is. And we're here in 29 Palms, California, and, we came to visit, and everyone who's been listening to our shows every day, we were like, hey, we were here for a couple of weeks, and we're still here, and, she could kick us out any time, and we really hope she doesn't. But suddenly life has changed.
It's our fifth week here. I started the weekend of the 14th of March, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Last week was the fifth week. So, oh dear, I can't count.
Well, all I know is my waist has probably increased by 5 inches.
Yeah.
I think different states have different, like when you have to close down times, it seems.
Maybe so.
Yeah. I think
just seems like forever. Just seems like forever.
It's different across the country as to when. I guess it would be the governors who say close it down. You can't travel.
Yes, it is the governor's job to do that, although there's some disagreement from the gentleman in the White House. He thinks that he's in charge of that. Yeah. Wow.
Well, it's an interesting time. I don't want to get into political drama because there's enough talking heads in the world for that. But
that's true.
The reality is, drama. You could have the closest person to you, and suddenly it's like, they're right there all the time. You could be trying to work. You could be trying to do your normal routine. Maybe you normally work at home. And next thing you know, annoyance happens. I mean, an annoyance can happen, they say once the honeymoon wears off, now it's really over.
But what about people who live on houseboats? That could be good right now.
Yeah.
You could push them in the water.
And houseboats are in a tiny house.
Yeah.
In a tiny house. I just saw a headline that said, this man was living with his family of 7 children in a trailer, a mobile home kind of thing. I thought that would be pretty close.
Well, no, that's a whole issue because a lot of people do live in small quarters. According to, they're saying this is a whole other class distinction now. People are not able to be 6 feet apart depending on their income and situation. So that's a big deal.
I see. Yes,
right.
it is.
And so it's a big deal, but we're also at that point, the annoyance could be there, right?
Well, I think I used to give pre-retirement workshops when I was working in the world of volunteerism, and we always had an expression where the wife would say to the husband, or the spouse would say to the other spouse who was retiring, I married you for better or for worse, but not for lunch, because we pretty much have our routines worked out, and if you're a stay-at-home person, you've got your you know how you get your work done, and you know how you get the tasks done, and how you expect the other people to do theirs, and this has just thrown that all in a loop because everybody's there all the time. Makes it difficult, I think. It just means that your schedule is off, and people are doing things that are like in your way, but of course you want them there because they're your family, but they're not doing it. It just changes everything. I think that's the hardest part that I've seen, and I live in a condo, but we're in association with about 20 different families, and we have one family with young children, and they come out of the house at certain times and ride their bikes around the parking lot and do their activities, and that's the hardest part. The parents were saying yesterday that trying to stay on a schedule so that they get their physical activity and then they do their less physical stuff in the house. Luckily, we have that ability here. But I think part of like my trying to remember how long this has been. How long have I been in my house? And I go out to take the garbage out, or I drive my car to go pick up the prescription, but I don't go into the stores, and so I'm fairly isolated. That part of all of that change, and for some of us who live alone, is sort of lots of time and space, and what'll I do with it kind of feeling. I think it's all. And then if you do watch any of the news shows, it can be quite disheartening, and I think there's just a sense of powerlessness. Of what can we do? Well, we can wear a mask. We can stand so far apart. We can wash our hands all the time. We can wipe down anything that comes into the house. We can set up a schedule. I just wonder. I remember when I went to camp, they would have a cleanup schedule every morning after breakfast. You go back to your cabin, and they would, today it's your day to sweep, or it's your day to do this, or they had a series of chores, and each day you got moved to a different chore, and it was all set up. And I remember my mother doing that at one point, one summer. Where I have two sisters, and she finally did that for us because we were driving her bats.
Yeah, well, I think with this, you have to kind of look at it like summer break in a weird way, but at the same time, there's things to be done. Life goes on. You have to put into life. You can't just keep taking out, and you can have your moment of, okay, this is crazy, because I think everyone's emotions go through, okay, we're batty, we want out. Then there's the, oh my gosh, we're all in this together, so there's a, joy of being together. Then there's the couch potato position that we get stuck in and have to get out of. But also, I think that, you talk about change, there's fear. And then when you talk about doing chores and things like dishes and having a routine, I know we were talking with musician Jan Close on the show. As soon as we said, okay, we're going live, we need to have some kind of something. I see musicians doing a lot of like series of concerts, and there's we all kind of seem to, the first thing is, what can we do for a routine, because we need to have some kind of something. We need that backbone.
We need some kind of sense that we are in charge of at least part of our lives, that we have some order in our lives, and that we're not just blowing in the wind. I mean, it's really easy to say, oh, I'll do the laundry tomorrow, until you don't have any underwear left. you know. So I mean, the couch potato is, I think, a pretty normal reaction. And then the other one, and I think this is part of why we wrote the article, was no matter how much we love a person, behaviors that sometimes we've found charming can become annoying when we are at close quarters and have all these other stressors on us. And so it's really time to take a deep breath. I'm reading a book with a group from church. All kinds of Zoom meetings are popping up in my life now. And the book we're reading is called Think and Grow Rich. There's a very
Napoleon Hill.
I'm sorry?
Is it Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill?
Or Think?
No. Think and Grow Rich is the one that everyone knows about. This is called Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
And her premise is that thinking doesn't help. In order to get to move yourself to the creative space where things will happen for you, is you have to spend your time in gratitude. You have to be thankful. And so why am I telling you this? Oh, I think part of
you can't think. You just said you can't think anymore. So.
Well, no, that's not. I know I said that, and she says that in her introduction.
Smart Alec.
Yeah, no, but I'm telling you this because part of the activity of, oh my God, how am I going to stand it with this person doing whatever it is that's driving us crazy, or that person, or somebody who's sitting in her room and listening to music all the time instead of doing her homework, whatever. What do I do? The first thing I always suggest is to take a deep breath. That's just always the first thing I always say. But then to remember to be grateful that you have this time. And sometimes I grit my teeth about gratitude. I say, I'm grateful, until I am. You know, I have to say it a few times. And I think as I read this book, I will learn more ways finding gratitude. But the premise is that we have to be in a space of gratitude in order to be vibrating at the right level or something for the universe. And I don't think it would hurt. One of the other ways that I suggest vibrating at the right level is to do a lot of physical activity. I put the music on and dance. I remember substitute teaching in a elementary school, and the teacher was so much fun. She would have them work quite in a focused way for about 11 or 12 minutes, and then somebody was given the right to go and push the button on the tape machine, and everybody would jump up out of their chairs and dance around for 60 seconds, and then they would all sit down and take a deep breath and review what they were doing and go back to their focused work. And that's how she went through periods with 4th and 5th graders to keep them go on.
It's pattern interrupt. It is to make things new and fresh, you just have to change something. And it could be one tiny thing, but you just have to pattern interrupt, because patterns are good to a point, because we need to be organized and do things at the right time in the right way. But when you're confined, pattern interrupt can lead to psychosis. Like when you look at animals who are caged up, in the wild, they can run forever, but in a zoo, they go round and round and round and round, and they get really mean about it for a reason, because it's called boredom. Pattern interrupt is about giving somebody a new way to look at things, even if you just move to a different chair in the room. Like, I never noticed that before, because everybody has their, this is my chair, that's my chair over there. It just pattern interrupts. Change it up.
Well, and what you said is look at things differently, and that's the other essential part of what I think is important when we're in a relationship and somebody's driving you crazy. The question is, can you look at it differently? And of course, the first thing to look at differently is their motivation, because I think when someone's driving us bats, we start saying, well, why are they doing that? They're just being mean. Well, they're being irresponsible. How disrespectful. I mean, there's a long list of things that we say to ourselves, right? So go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, you're right, because the first thing is we almost like go like, oh, they're doing this against me instead of they're actually just doing that. You start taking it personally, and then that's where revenge comes in, and that's when all kinds of crazy things happen in the household where pranks start to come in handy. Practical jokes and pranks.
Like stuffed monkeys, huh?
Yeah.
I guess practical jokes, although in my family practical jokes never felt jokey to me. So I was always a little uncomfortable with that when I was raising a child. But I know in many families it works really well. I think I invite people to look at the other person, the difficult person, in a new way of believing that they're not the enemy. They don't wake up in the morning and think, how can I make this other person really angry today? It's that they're not aware that their behavior is driving you crazy or that it's triggering something in you. And they're not aware that it does that, and they aren't aware that they're doing the behavior. So it's something they do in a habitual way without even thinking, whether it's, drawing their, doing that thing between your two front teeth, kind of, where you breathe in, or you just have a silly little laugh, or I don't know. There's a lot of small behavioral characteristics sometimes that start to drive some of us crazy when we're in close quarters for a long period of time.
At the breakfast table.
What is with the toenails at the breakfast table?
You know why I brought that up is because this comes from Nancy talking about friends that got married and then they got divorced because he cut his toenails at their breakfast table the next morning or something, right? But there was their engagement party, and then they didn't get married or something because he cut his toenails and she got grossed out. And that was that.
Oh dear.
So I always do that.
We're always you're looking at somebody else does something that first you find endearing, then you find annoying, but it's really your call. Call. It's how do you think about it? Why do you think about it?
You read Sarah's article. Everybody, it's on blendradioandtv.com. You read Sarah's article. It'll be in the next issue of Big Blend Radio and TV magazine. We were supposed to put negative feedback at work, but that's not going to happen right now.
but I mean, it's interesting. Like, I can talk personally about, I can put up with almost anything an animal does versus a person. That's me personally. Right. Like a dog can do anything it wants, and you can, train it, and you can say, don't do that, bad dog, go on paper, do all that stuff. You know all that. But the dog doesn't irritate like a person can irritate you. And I'm just saying that personally, like somehow your pets don't irritate you usually as much as people.
That's for you. Everybody's different.
Now, other people may feel differently about that.
Yeah.
Well, I think when we take it personally, and it's really hard not to, if it's driving us crazy, then we believe it's being done on purpose. And we may have said, please stop doing that. And the person says, oh, okay, I'll stop. And they don't. And maybe you said something to them. Maybe you said something to them other times, like last weekend and last month and, 2 months ago. I don't know if you keep records on this stuff. But, you've spoken about it before. And now here you are at home for 4 weeks and longer, and they're still doing it. And so it start to take it personally, like, well, they're just not listening to me. You don't care what I think. And so the idea is we have a choice about how we can react, and we have a choice about how we look at things. And I think that it's much more global than just relationships. The more I worked on the article, the more I realized we have to look at this whole experience. in a new way, rather than the idea that we're being locked up or that our liberties being taken away or whatever people are saying about it. More that look at the opportunities we have.
Yeah, there's. I think that you're really right. I know, especially in the beginning, a lot of us were thinking that way, and then we get into the upset mode. You know what I mean? So
I think
it's an interesting thing how we balance all of this out. When you think about, okay, it's a change of life. You know, I know we did. You know, Bobby DePorter with the 8 Keys of Excellence. It's flexibility, key of excellence. Be willing to do something differently. I mean, we got totally derailed. We travel full time, and our butts are in one place again, and here we are. But thankfully, in a beautiful place with amazing people, and our lifestyle has changed. And you know, you change with it. And you go, okay, what opportunity can I get from this? I don't mean, I'm an opportunist in that it's looking for the good, not opportunist to grab somebody's money. You know, the opportunist has such a negative connotation, and I think that's wrong. It shouldn't. Opportunist is someone looking for an opportunity for something positive, hopefully. That's me. And I look at this going, in the morning we walk. Now we can't walk in Joshua Tree Park, which is right here. We can see the park, and you want to go.
Walk there.
No, you can't. The park's closed, and you can't go. And a lot of national parks are closing. There's a movement to close all of them, for everybody's health and sanctity, and for the nature and all of that. And the nature is doing really good through all of this. So there's some positives. We talk. Pollution is down. Pollution is down.
Have you seen the pictures of India?
Yeah.
In Bombay?
Crazy.
The pictures of what it's like normally and what it's like now. It's like, wow. And they say there's no such that this is all baloney and it's not real science anyway. So you like to walk, right? You're saying
so we still
one
walk
of the things
in
you're doing now.
Now what we're doing is we're cleaning vacant lots, we're cleaning, the streets, we're picking up trash, and we're looking at lilies and flowers and wildflowers that are in the neighborhood, looking at gardens, and you notice little details. And I think that's something that we can all be doing, something positive. What can we do? You said physical exercise. You're right. There's so many musicians, doing all these live streams. Put it on Facebook and boogie out, man. Or do your Zumba class on YouTube or however you want to do it. Boogie down.
Everybody has a list of things that they said they wanted to do if they only had the time. And now you have the time. Are you doing them? Are you cleaning out the garage?
Yeah. Actually, that was on my list today, but I had to postpone it till Thursday. But yes, that's coming up. Everyone in where I live, everyone's been cleaning out their garage. So I had a friend coming over today to help me, and it turned out we couldn't do it today. But one of the fun things, my son is a director of education in the zoo in Brooklyn, New York, and he said when this whole thing started, he said he was so relieved he didn't have to lay anyone off because they have all these projects that they've been wanting to develop and then never had time because they were always putting on programs for kids or groups and adults and stuff. He said, so every time I text him during the day, he says, I'm in a meeting because he's got one Zoom meeting after another working on these projects together. And I find that very creative. And they're also all being paid, which is really nice. So they didn't lose their salaries.
Yeah.
See, it does change up, and there's things that do get. I mean, for Nancy and I, we're actually in a bigger pile of work. It's bizarre, It's like here we are. We're supposed to, travel. We do so much, but now we're like we went daily with our shows because you can't do as many recorded things. It doesn't make sense. We're in a different place and time, and we knew that people need to have real connection as best we can virtually, right? So it was like immediately, let's go do it daily. We can do it, and I will say, what are we doing? We created a new Big Blend Facebook community on, so we moved that, and we did all these things. So it ends up with this bigger pile of work that we were like, oopsie, but it's cool because it's about connection and community, and I think we're learning, not just us, everybody is learning the value of community and connectivity and working together to get through this. So I think there's some huge positives and I don't say this lightly about those who have passed and those who are sick. And those who are working on the front lines, those in the education industry, the health, the health workers, there's so many amazing people really sacrificing, and there's people out there right now who don't have food on the table. They're scared about their jobs, so there's true fear. There's so much going on, and through this, I hope we all kind of dig down and find that gem, because the diamond doesn't come without the crud around it. And I feel like sometimes these things come in our life to teach us to go for what's really important, and sometimes that's exactly what happens. You will go through something like this and find out, she's annoying me, my wife is annoying me right now, turn around and then all of a sudden find the joy that you really had. You may go through this period of annoyance because you personally are also going through change. That's the other thing. It's not them just irritating you, it's you irritating yourself. How about that?
Choosing to be irritated, yeah.
I think we irritate ourselves.
Well, we choose it. I mean, because that's what we've been taught. I think if we can describe it in a positive way, whatever it is that's driving us crazy, that has always been the piece that makes sense. So and I mentioned this in the article. I mean, somebody's whining all the time, like, I want this, I want this, I want this. But you can say, well, you really, really know what you want. I admire your persistence. That kind of thing. That's what when dogs bark at me, for example, I always praise them for being good watchdogs, because that's what they're doing. And of course, their owners never expect it. That's the kind of thing. You just look at it as, I'm not saying dogs and children are the same, but, you look at whatever they're doing that would normally, you just say, go to your room, I won't take this anymore. I said, can you look at it as them demonstrating something positive? Can you take somebody raising their voice and say, wow, you're really passionate about this? And just see it that way. Or if they say it over and over and over again, it's just something, you really are becoming an advocate. I'm impressed. Now, in my family, someone would have said, you probably should grow up to be a lawyer, and move it beyond. But it's looking at the behavior and finding something positive about it. Not that it has to change your mind or anything, just looking at it differently, because once we look at something differently, there's a subtle shift, and you can say, I hear what you're saying, and I admire your ability to be this persistent. And this is what I do, especially with young children. Have you forgotten that drives me crazy? Have you forgotten that I'm trying to get this work done? Have you forgotten the whatever, whatever it is that we've talked about before when I said, please don't do that anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was reminding my son, I shared the article with my son because some of the stuff in there is things I said to him. And one of them was when he brought some young men over to my condo when he was, 16, 17, and they were in the kitchen, and I came in and said hello, and, would you like it? And he was saying, he was just being a sort of a wise ass. He was just being smart alecky. It was not at all like him. And I took him to the next room. I said, excuse us for a minute here. And I said, are you using that tone of voice with me to piss me off? Or do you think it's going to make your friends like you if you're disrespectful? I mean, I'm confused. This is really new behavior. And he said, oh, Mom. And I said, well, I'm surprised. It's a tone of voice and a way of talking to me that, I don't like it. Did you forget that? And he just sort of shrugged, and we went back, and he changed his behavior. That's all it took. It was a reminder. But sometimes I think asking that question, do you know you're doing this? And did you forget that I don't like it? Or that it's in my way, or that I told you when the minute hand's on the 6 and it's only on the 4, so I've still got 10 more minutes to finish this project, whatever,
Yeah.
That helps it gives the person that's driving us crazy, it gives them the opportunity to change without us saying, stop what you're doing and do this instead, you know. It's feeling more like parent to child, but it doesn't have to be. I don't know if we would speak to a spouse or, you know, an adult family member that way, but I know you two don't talk to each other that way.
Oh, no, we're very straight up.
We're so straight
no,
up.
But you tell each other if it's driving you, if you don't like it.
Yeah, we just straight up because we don't have time. We don't have time. You know what I mean? Right. We don't have time for...
We're too busy to be... there's a luxury in being miserable.
We were talking about that.
Yeah, there is a... I think I understand where people are right now because it's confining, but if you think about all the things you said you ever wanted to do, you wanted to watch this movie, you wanted to read this book, you wanted to learn this, you wanted to take a course. Well, here's the golden opportunity to do it. All the things you said you ever wanted to do.
Welcome to the no excuse zone.
Exactly.
I'm facing that right now. I'm sorry.
There's a lot of, especially if you have internet and you can go online. I mean, there's so many places with webcams. You can watch wildlife in Africa. You can watch downtown Bangkok if you wanted to. There's just so many opportunities now that you have free time. Go for it.
One of the things that I was saying was that I really enjoyed walking in the pool for physical therapy, which was what I was doing to help with my arthritic knee. And of course, the pool is closed. And I just said, "Can't I just come over and walk? I'll wear a mask." I said, "No, the whole place is shut down, right?" So, okay, the other thing that I did was I worked with a trainer doing weight training, and we've done a little bit of that in the park. He can set it up so that he can have me doing things, and we're 6 feet apart, and it's okay. But I always warmed up rowing on the rowing machine. And I had started building up more and more time on the rowing machine after I did the weight training. So I finally bit the bullet and bought a rowing machine. So this is what the reason I'm telling you this long story is because you were talking about, you know, you're finally getting to do the things you want to do. So the rowing machine came, and I had the box go through 2 days of quarantine so that there wouldn't be any coronavirus on the cardboard. And then some friends came over and we took it out of the box and we put it all together. And now it sits in front of my television, so I cannot, I can't go down and sit on the couch and be a couch potato because there's the rowing machine and I wanted it and I wanted the exercise.
So you rowing while you watch TV?
I do. I
that's
started
cool.
with, 5 minutes
funny.
at a time. But I do the whole thing. I'm trying to work up to 20 minutes every day, but I get to about 10 minutes, and I just grit my teeth to get through the next 5 so that I can lie down on the couch.
No, but this is so cool because you've created a new routine, something new, and you're understanding it takes the steps, right? Because you can't just do the whole, I'm in there, I'm going to do an hour of rowing. I mean, I know going up, we changed our walking patterns, right? Well, my butt hurts, okay? Listen, when you bend down over and over to pick up people's trash, and listen, you people out there, what the heck are you doing? I don't get it. Stop it. But you bend over, and it feels better. You get upset about trash, but it feels better to pick it up than be upset about it. So the action is the antidote to despair. Joan Baez, my favorite quote. I know I say it all the time we talk on the shows, but it's true.
Well, it's a good one, though.
It is. Action means everything in whatever way you can. Everybody's in a different situation, but in some way you can take action.
Do something.
You can figure it out, and it's joyous to figure it out and go, this is what I can do. You know, everybody's got limitations in some way, and you just find what it is that you can do. And right there, you have a limitation, and here it is. I got my rowing machine. Now there you go. So I want to know, are you going to watch, like, rowing TV Like while you row? Like
no.
Yeah.
No,
are you
I
matching
didn't
it up?
No, they're way too expensive. Those you know.
Oh no,
machines
I mean
that
just
come.
like you can see your TV, so you could like watch like someone going down the Amazon. Like, can you see it from your rowing machine?
I guess I could. I will think about it. It's more a matter of getting through the experience. I used to do it with nothing to look at, you know, because I was in a gym, and so I would count my inhalations and my exhalations. And when I do 30 breaths, it's usually about a minute. And of course, I need to get that faster. But first, I'm going to get to 20 minutes. But I mean, anybody that does a lot of rowing will tell you that 30 breaths in a minute is probably not very fast. But that's what I do. But that's what I was doing in the gym, was counting. So now I'm looking at I can't read the screen that came with the machine. And when I called the company to ask them about it, of course they were closed. So that was really helpful. So I pretty much I watch the telly and try to just get through it. So I'm not loving it yet.
Oh, you should watch Survivor while you do it.
Exactly. Why don't you watch something like where people like are in the Amazon and they're going down, they're paddling through a river. I mean, get like a show that where people
Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, they're in the water, and you can just like put yourself in where they are.
Yeah.
Well, my sister was asking me about that. I close my eyes and or I used to, but I've done it some now here at home. And remember, I grew up spending my summers on a glacial lake in New England, and we did a lot of rowing. We had a rowboat, and so I close my eyes and I see myself rowing from our dock to somebody else's dock across the pond, and you know, that feels good. Or yesterday I was remembering my family owned an island on the coast of Maine for a while, not a long time, but we used to go and launch a little canvas dinghy and row out and have a picnic lunch on it.
Oh, cool.
And so I envisioned myself rowing that yesterday. It was really funny,
but
too.
this is really cool. So you're talking about visualization, too. And that's something, too. I think that, you know, everybody's in a different circumstance. You know, we can't see all of our listeners, right? So somebody could be stuck in a rented room, right, in the house. You could be in one of the small apartments of New York City and having to share a bathtub in the kitchen. So everybody's got a different situation.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
That's
so
true.
Now I see Kramer from Seinfeld in his bathtub with oars.
I know.
And watching the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh, good, Nancy. But the visualization is a huge, huge tool in moving forward in life and getting through things. I think that that's something we could all kind of tap into right now, wouldn't you think?
I guess. I hadn't thought of finding a show on TV where people are, you know, on the water where I would be rowing with them. So that'd be
so much fun.
That'll be fun. I tend to do it when I'm watching something that I really, really want to watch. And so I force myself to row at that time because I know I will row because I've told myself if I'm going to watch that show, I have to row. Anyway, it's just a...
But that's another thing where right there, you know, this is your agreement you've made with yourself. And to uphold your agreement.
Every day
and I think
I have to make it over again.
Right. Well, I wake up, you know, every day and go out and catch that sunrise unless it's pouring rain, which we actually had out here in the desert. The weather is weird these days, but, you know, there's a certain, you know, Nancy and I, and we've talked about this on the show with you, Sarah, you know, we travel, our lives are normally every day somewhere different or, you know, there's always something, but we still have to have some form of routine to make sure that radio shows air and magazines come out and, you know, that we have some semblance of knowing who we are. Because if you don't have, I feel like if you lose some form of routine, and that's maybe the core of what we're at right now, is if we don't have our own personal routine, you can have a family routine, a couple's routine, but if you do not have your own personal routine, then you are not having that dialogue with yourself.
Or the comments that you're making to yourself is not very complimentary. I mean, I think that's easy. It's easy to sort of want to spend the whole day on the couch, or like some people are doing a lot of cooking, and if they don't have anybody to give the food to, and then they eat it all themselves, then they're not as happy with themselves. I mean, so it's not just having it's having a routine that you can find pleasure in and that you feel good about doing. I guess I would so like to be able to make, a carton full of cookies or sandwiches or something and take them somewhere that they would be, useful. And yet, we're told stay at home unless it's really important. And so, and I don't quite know. And when, I said, well, I'd really like to help. And they say, oh, yeah, send us money. Well, I can do that, but it doesn't feel as impactful as if I could at least. No, it doesn't feel as good.
Yeah, it doesn't, because you worry about it and you think, well, I don't know, so I'm going to give you money to do something I wanted to actually do myself.
Yeah, that's kind of where
exactly.
I find it very interesting. The arts are pulling people through nature in a lot of ways, because we can walk our neighborhoods, and I think that kind of look locally what you can do, so you kind of know, is this a good organization or not? What can you do? I look at the musicians are like totally out of work, and then even the venues that host them, they're messed. It's screwed up, right? This whole situation
it really is.
And yet musicians turned around immediately and went like, dude, 2 days without our fans, we're not happy. They have to have some kind of connectivity, and I've watched concerts where they're connecting with their fans through Facebook Live, and people can connect and send hearts and connect and say hi. And you can see this connection. It's been very interesting interviewing different musicians about that experience versus them doing a show where they're not connecting with the audience. And they're just doing it, here I'm recording, or I'm doing it, but there's no, it's like,
no
you,
feedback.
Sarah, come on a radio show and we're not going to talk to you. So just, talk amongst yourselves, It's without that feedback.
You need feedback, yeah.
Right. So it's a very interesting thing. So they've tried really hard. They're putting up PayPal tips, and people have become really creative. And I think that is the key to this. At the end of the day, is how thinking about what can we do that's creative and interesting. No matter what, everybody has something to do with creativity. Everybody has a creative bone. It just may not be always musical or in fiction writing. Creativity, we want them in bookkeepers, right, for sure.
Yeah.
And some of us really wanted some creative magic to happen politically. I'm just saying, and so it's interesting, and I think these times get creative,
But it's part of the challenge, I think, and that's part of looking at it differently. That's sort of where I was headed with that whole concept. Is I looked at the how to make a mask demonstrations on YouTube and not YouTube, it was on Facebook. And I tried it with one and I tried it with another, and they didn't really work very well. So I went to Etsy and bought one. It's just easier. I am not a crafty person. And I had to do all my sewing, with a needle and thread, not a sewing machine. So, but I tried. I gave it a shot.
That's
there was
cool.
one.
Go ahead.
Oh, there was one young girl. She showed us using paper towels. You just fold them a certain way and put rubber bands around them, and it looked so easy. And so I did that, and it didn't work at all as easily. But honestly, I don't come close to people at all. Like, I have to go out and get a prescription. I drive through the pick up your prescription at the drugstore, so I'm not talking to anybody, and unless I'm actually physically going into another house or someone is coming into my house, I wouldn't be wearing a mask.
So this is kind of it's like you could be trapped with a loved one who's driving you nuts, or you could be stuck at home, not being able to talk to people, like really have that conversation.
Being driven nuts by yourself. Yes, that was sort of what I was talking about.
Yeah, I just didn't want to say it. I was being nice. But it's true. I mean, I would drive myself batty.
Yes, well, stick around. I could be batty in days. One of the things we've been doing, the church that I attend when I'm allowed to attend. We're having lunches, Zoom lunches, 12:30 to 1:30 on Thursdays, for example, and everybody just, we have people in their 80s who are learning to use Zoom. It's really exciting. And
cool.
Let's see, something else. There was another activity like that. Oh, some of the groups, the mastermind groups, things like that at church, they've just all switched to Zoom, and I've been enjoying that. Find I'm sitting at my PC more than I would usually prefer, but it's having fun with my friends.
Yeah, and you've got your rowing machine now. See, that's the thing.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
So you got to balance. You got to balance. Yeah, I think
do, but I miss hugs. I miss hugs.
That's what we hear from everybody on our shows. We've done, little happy hour parties. We're having our Big Blend Community Facebook group party on Sunday. And, everything we hear is people really miss the human connection.
Well, yeah.
And I think that, but, when we're all irritated with each other, let's go back to that. And there's these extreme emotions. And I think I kind of look at it, when you go through, like I remember, if you'd stop drinking coffee or stop smoking, like when I stopped smoking, I just...
Oh, dear.
Nancy's like, you need to stay in your own place and stay away from me because I'm annoying. I'm like a total. I'm sorry, but a bitch, right?
Yes, you were. Well,
crabby.
I've done that. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, you're crabby because you're going through a change. Your body's physically going through it too. And I just want to say, I think this is something that's left out. When you're going through a change, you're physically going through change. In fact, you may be really crabby because you don't have toilet paper. You may be crabby because your diet has changed because you can't get what you normally eat in the grocery store. You could be crabby because
you've been disrupted in what you're used to and comfortable with. So now you're very uncomfortable.
So it's kind of like like you're not an addiction, but it is a withdrawal of what you were doing.
Yeah.
Well, because humans like structure. We like structure. We need structure because when you have structure, you can build.
With that.
Yeah, and if you don't have structure, then what are you doing?
And when you're in a couple situation, roles may reverse, and now that gets interesting.
Oh, that's a whole other story.
I mean, so maybe the woman's at home and she has a kid, so she's working at home and she's taking care of the kids, and the guy goes off to work. That's the normal scenario, kind of like maybe 30 years ago. Right, 30 years ago. But now, suddenly you're all at home, and the guy's not used to being at home.
And kids aren't used to it.
Nobody's used to it. So now the guy's going to start calling the shots at home like he does at work, and the woman's going to be like, hey, dude, you're in my domain now. Back off. But, I'm just making it short.
Hey, everybody, have you forgotten about the cats want you out of the house? The cats are saying get out.
And the
dogs
pets
are cool.
like, the pets are like, what the?
No.
And then and so
the dogs
everything's
don't
all
mind. They're thrilled. They get 7 walks a day.
Yeah, exactly.
Dogs are very happy with it.
Dogs, now we understand our dogs more. Christina Concevelos, a travel writer, she was posting that on Instagram, and she's like, now you know why your dog wants to take a walk so much. Now you know what it feels like, And then you think about the cats. This is the cats and the dogs mixing at home. They may like each other a lot, but then all of a sudden now they're in close quarters. It's the same thing. And I think if everyone, like you talk about, get down to it, like talk to each other, look at it in a different way, control yourself, because you can control your own emotions and reactions. That's what you talk about, and I think that's the most powerful thing we can do. It really is.
Well, I think the issue is usually by the time that somebody wants to control their own emotions, they've lost it. We can say you can control your own emotions, but I think it's hard, and so taking a deep breath, as I say, is the first step. And then stepping back and seeing if you can describe the behavior in a positive way, just to say to yourself, if someone wasn't feeling what I'm feeling, how would they describe this? That's one of the ways that I've done it. Because saying to myself, you're in control of your emotions, it's like, yeah, well, right now I'm really emotional, so it doesn't help me much.
Well, knowing when you're emotional, knowing and acknowledging that, right? Acknowledging I'm being emotional, so giving yourself a break and say, okay, cry, stomp your feet, do if you want to be a 3-year-old today, be a 3-year-old because maybe that's what you need to do. Get it on, spin it out, but you don't need to put it on everybody else. Go to your room, pout, trip over your lower lip, whatever you're going to do. Get on with it and know it. You could go lock yourself in the bathroom. I think that sometimes we're not dealing with our emotions on our own, and we're just like spewing it onto everybody else. Bathrooms were made for this.
It's a wonderful advertisement for chocolate, where a woman is in the bathroom and she is lying on the floor because the tub is full of all the children's toys. And she's wrapped up in a towel. When you first see her, you think she's in the tub, actually, and then you realize she's not. And she's eating this wonderful chocolate. I don't know the maker of the chocolate, I'm afraid. And then the children say, "Hey, Mom," and she responds, "This is Dad," so that they'll leave her alone in the bathroom. And I love it.
Yeah, the bathroom. I know musicians who do that. They lock themselves in the bathroom and annoy their entire family, but they do it because it's the only peace and quiet they get. The acoustics aren't always good. Some depends. It depends on what you do in the bathroom. I don't know. But sorry, I had to put that in there.
I know that as a young mother, when my son was born, when I was getting annoyed, and I hadn't raised a child yet. This was my first shot at it, and I would want to cheerfully strangle him at times, and my husband would say, "Go take a bath. Just close the door and climb in bubble bath time or something." And that was helpful.
Nancy chased me around the garden with a rolling pin, sometimes a frying pan. She did. You did. We just watched a Facebook video thing someone did with the chickens chasing people, and it reminded me of Nancy.
Well,
I'm coming after you. And by the time we'd meet up, it was like then we'd all laugh. We would laugh.
First of all, it's funny, and everybody really needs to have a sense of humor. That gets you through more things than anything else. And physical activity, like running and chasing Lisa around the garden, oh, man, nap time was not a problem. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
Excellent strategy. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Sarah, it is always fun chatting with you. I know our conversations, we let's just take over the White House, and people are like, oh, yeah. I don't know. But we always manage to go in all kinds of directions. But I think that humans are like that, right? We're supposed to.
Well, I hope
we have many
to the people
faces.
listening.
Yeah.
We have many faces, and this is a time when you can use each one.
Yes.
You just have to turn your own channel.
Well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the anonymous mask and put it on my face.
Now turn your channel. Just keep turning the channel to whatever your mood happens to be.
Yeah, and go to the bathroom. That's it. Wash your hands. See, this is
right.
And listen, don't skirt away from doing the dish duty, okay? That's the best way to really wash your hands. You're doing something good. You're taking off the pressure of everybody else having to do it. And it's pretty meditative. So all I know is I raise my hand for dish duty all the time because I know deep clean.
Well, warm water.
Nice. And it's meditative, and you're doing something positive, and you're helping.
And
so there it is.
It's one of the. It has very immediate feedback that something's getting done. And a lot of times we don't get immediate feedback like that.
Yeah.
I love washing dishes.
Well, come on out.
That's what I'm saying. There's so many things everybody said they always wanted to do. Go do it.
Yeah.
This is now your time, and it's usually task about the house, clean out the rain gutters, clean out this, do that.
And once you get in it feels good.
Go do it.
It feels good. Action always feels so much better.
I wanted to read this book. I want to read War and Peace. Go do it.
And Sarah's rowing her boat down whatever river she wants to go. She's like, don't read War and Peace. What was it?
Can you put your rowboat in like a big pan of water?
Yeah, really.
You mean my rowing machine?
Or swimming
Pretend
pool?
there's water there? No, it doesn't quite work that way. I wish.
I know, but
wish.
the rowing machine thing is really good for your knees, man. That's cool.
Well, it's better than trying to walk because I can't walk very well. So it's really it's.
Did you sing "Row, Row, Row Your Boat" when you got in it? Come on, be honest. You sang it, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
You sang "Row, Row, Row
Your
Your Boat."
No, it didn't. No, I didn't think. I'll do it tonight. Tonight.
Good.
I need you guys around more to have more humor in my life.
You need to row your boat, sing it, row, row, row your boat, and then, like, seriously, put on rowing music. See, I would do a whole playlist of rowing music or, anything to do with sailing. I'm going to make you a playlist, Sarah. I'm going to make you a personal playlist of music
to row your boat.
To row your boat, your canoe.
Okay. That'll be great.
I am. No joke. I'm totally making you a playlist because we can do that virtually. Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Yes, we can.
I know.
We
can do this. This is cool. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. We're all going bat crazy. It's okay because it all started with the bat, but the bat is not to blame. I'm just going to say, leave the bats alone. They're awesome pollinators, and so keep doing nice things for bats in your gardens. So that's my plug of the day. So everyone, Sarah's book is Lessons from a Difficult Person, How to Deal with People Like Us. The answer is get her book and row a boat. Row your canoe. Go to SarahElliston.com. Her book is obviously on Amazon and all those great stores. Get it now. Amazon delivers. We don't know how long the post office will, so get it now. Also, you can download it. See, Kindles.
Yeah, do that.
Kindles. You can do that too.
It's Kindle. It's an ebook.
And her article about everything we've been talking about actually gets really more into the specifics of it. Go to blendradioandtv.com. You'll see Sarah in our expert department, or just type in Sarah Elliston in the search box, and you'll find all of her articles. Always helpful and good advice for any time. And even the negative feedback article that is supposed to be in this upcoming issue of Big Blend Radio and TV magazine, you know what? We're still having feedback and working with others through Zoom and all of that. So check that out, too. So, everyone, we're going to be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's show is all about music. We have Emmy Award-winning guitarist Brian Tarquin joining us with his new album, Vegas Blue. Yeah. He recorded in memory of the 2017 Las Vegas shooting tragedy. Amazing album. Also, we have the Outlaws legend, Harvey Dalton Arnold, joining us with his album. It's called Stories to Live Up To. It's going to be good. That's a good title. I know. He likes camping around parks too, Nancy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to that. And speaking of music, we've got another great song from you. I know, Sarah, I think we've played Conversation, the title track to the EP Conversation by E.G. Vines. So, but this is the final song. It's called Reconcile. See, you have to go through the irritation to the conversation. So here it is, Conversation. Take care, Sarah.
Take care.
Thanks a lot.
Take care, everybody.
Go row that boat.
Yeah.
Don't it sound so nice? A never-ending paradise. Final comfort in the end. I won't wait to find the hand that holds when we divide. Will you take the time to mend? 'Cause we're all fading, you and I, with just a flash of light skies of time. No more waiting, the time is right for us to reconcile, The clouds are rolling in, soon the storm will start to spin. Will it take me down? flash of light in the skies of time. No more waiting, the time is right for us to reconcile. Cause we're all fading, you and I, with just a flash of light or the skies of time. No more waiting, the time is right for us to reconcile.